Hi guys, it's Attila here. One of the first party dishes I learned to make was the deviled egg. And while it may not be the most sophisticated of hors d'oeuvres, it certainly is a favorite. The best part is it's simple and easy to make, and you probably got the ingredients already in your fridge. So let's go ahead and get started.
The ingredients for deviled eggs are readily available in pretty much every grocery store, and they are affordable, so you won't break the bank. You're going to need eggs, Dijon mustard, fresh lemon, salt and black pepper, cayenne pepper if you like a bit of a kick, or you can use paprika, and mayonnaise. In addition, I'm using dill and chives to garnish, but don't be afraid to get creative and experiment with other garnishes. To get started, we want to fill a large sauce pot about 3/4 full with cold tap water. We want to bring the water to a nice hot rolling boil, so turn your stove on to a high heat. Place the pot on the stove and cover with the lid, as this will reduce the amount of time it will take for the water to boil. While I'm waiting for the water to boil, I'm going to prepare my garnishes. Chives are a great choice and complement the deviled eggs very well. Dill is another excellent choice. I like the freshness, and the small fronds make an elegant garnish. It looks like the water has come to a nice rolling boil, and so it's time to put in our eggs. I'm using a set of kitchen tongs to lower the eggs into the boiling water. This allows me to submerge the egg into the water gently without cracking it or burning my hand. Take your time gently easing the eggs into the pot. You don't want to overcrowd them. When your pot is full, replace the lid and turn your heat down to very low so that the water is just barely simmering. The perfect hard-boiled egg is cooked in 10 minutes. You don't want to overcook it, or the yolk will take on an unappetizing gray color. I've got some time to prepare a little garnish for my plate. A tomato rose doesn't require much skill, and it looks pretty. Begin with the tomato upside down, and using a sharp knife, cut into the tomato straight across, but don't cut all the way through. When you get to the edge, start peeling off the skin in about a 3/4 inch strip in one long continuous cut, going around the tomato. Kind of like how you would peel an apple if you were making a pie. Just be careful not to cut through and break the skin. We want to end up with one long, unbroken strip of tomato skin. And don't worry if you have some parts that are wider and some parts that are narrower. It will give a natural look to our rose when we're done. When we get to the end, we'll cut the skin away, separating it from the flesh of the tomato. The next step is to place the strip skin side down on your work surface and gently lay the skin out flat. Beginning at the severed end, begin rolling the strip up using your fingers and surface for support. When you get to the end, rest the rolled skin on the flat side of the cut end. And there you have it, a nice tomato rose. In 3, 2, 1. All right, 10 minutes is up. It's now time to take out the eggs. I'm now going to take the pot off the stove and drain the hot water over a colander to collect the eggs. And then from here I will transfer them to an ice water bath to cool them down quickly and arrest any further cooking. Once the eggs are nice and cool, it's time to get cracking. I found that for me the easiest way to peel the shells is to give the eggs a couple of taps on the ends and then roll and gently press down on the egg. This should crack the shells nicely and separate them from the boiled egg inside, making peeling easy. Take your time here as you don't want to damage the egg. Once all the eggs are peeled, the next step is to cut them in half. Here's a tip to get a nice even cut. Don't use a knife. Instead, use dental floss. Take a couple of feet and tie it to a covered handle. Pull the floss so it's taut and then gently push the egg through the floss. It will slice nice and evenly, giving a cleaner cut than what a knife would. And it preserves the nice shape of the egg. Oh, by the way, this is Eva. She's in charge of quality control, and as you can see, she's keeping a pretty close eye on me. You'll notice the yolks are a lovely golden color. I chose organic free-range eggs from Golden Farms as the color of the yolk is so much more intense than what you would get from caged chickens that were commercially produced in large factory farms. Continue slicing until your eggs are all cut. We're now going to make the filling, and we'll begin by spooning the cooked yolks into a deep-sided mixing bowl. Once we have all the yolks separated, our next ingredient to add will be mustard. I'm going to add about 1 teaspoon of Dijon mustard. You can use other mustards if you want to experiment a little, but Dijon has a nice creamy texture and a bit of a bite that adds a tangy sophistication to the dish. The next ingredient to go in is the mayo. I'm adding about 3 teaspoons of Hellmann's, and while most mayos are fine, I'd steer away from Miracle Whip as it has a bit too much sweetness to it. Some fresh lemon juice is really going to add a zestiness to the filling. Always use fresh cut lemons whenever you are adding lemon juice to a dish, as the pre-squeezed juice in a bottle doesn't truly capture and keep the bright lemon essence, and that's what we're looking for here. Also, make sure to strain your juice to avoid any seeds ending up in the mixing bowl. I'm using about a teaspoon of lemon juice that I'm going to add now to the other ingredients. We're now ready to season. I like to keep it simple with freshly cracked black pepper, some Himalayan rock salt, sea salt, or conventional salt is fine, and then finally a couple of shakes of paprika if you prefer a more mild flavor, or cayenne pepper if you enjoy the heat. So that's all the ingredients, and at this stage we're ready to mix. If you don't have an electric mixer, that's fine, you can use a fork and mix by hand. I do prefer to use an electric mixer if I can, as it incorporates air into the mixture, making the filling smooth and creamy. When the ingredients are well blended and the texture is like soft frosting, it's time to fill a piping bag. This isn't a mandatory step, as you could spoon the filling directly into the egg white, but piping the filling in adds a nice presentation element. Here you can see I'm just using a freezer bag with the corner snipped off, which I placed a decorating tip through. Now comes the fun part. With the piping bag filled and the mixture squeezed down to the corner with the decorating tip, begin piping the mixture into the egg white shells. Add a generous amount to each, doing your best to keep the mixture neatly in the egg cup. When all the eggs are filled, we're now ready to plate. I've chopped up a bed of red cabbage to act as a nice foundation to showcase our deviled eggs on. You can also see the decorative tomato rows in the center. Take the eggs, place them neatly around the plate. When all your eggs are on, the final step is to garnish. Using the dill I chopped earlier, I'm going to place a small frond on top of the yolk, and I'll do that for a few of the eggs. Then, for the remaining, I'm going to change it up a bit and use the chopped chives, taking 2 slices and crisscrossing them over top of the yolks. And that about has it, folks. My deviled egg hors d'oeuvres are ready. There are so many different ways you can change up this recipe to suit your taste or the palate of your company. I encourage you to have fun with it, and if you have any ideas or suggestions on how you do your deviled egg, I'd invite you to share them in the comments. That's all from me for now. I'm glad you could join me. Bon appetit.